Call to the honourable member for Macquarie.
Thank you, Speaker. My question is to the Prime Minister. How will the Albanese Labor government's new tax cuts take pressure off Australians, and what obstacles has the government overcome in delivering this relief?
Give the call to the Prime Minister.
Thanks, Mr Speaker, and I thank the member from Macquarie for her question. And she knows that on the 1st of July, as a result of Labor's cost of living tax cuts, every Australian taxpayer will get a tax cut. Not just some, all 13.6 million of them, because we support the aspirations of all Australians, not just some. Our tax cuts will ensure that 84% of Australians get a bigger tax cut than they were going to get before our intervention. Our number one priority is easing cost of living without adding to inflation. That's the key. Getting costs down for families, getting wages up for workers, and getting the budget, of course, onto a stronger foundation, with the first budget surplus in 15 years delivered by this Treasurer. The first in 15 years. Now, whereas we want people to earn more and keep more of what they earn, those opposite want people to work longer for less. That is the great divide in Australian politics that we're seeing played out. Our tax cuts come on the top of other measures: cheaper medicines, affordable housing, energy bill relief, higher wages, cheaper childcare, historic investment in Medicare. That is the action that we are taking.
Casey will cease to
Those opposite have said no to every action this government has taken on cost of living. And they've even stopped asking questions in this place. They never talk about cost of living. When we announced our tax cuts, their gut reaction was to oppose it, and then they said they'd roll it back. They'd roll it back because it just didn't cross their mind to look after people who were earning under $45,000 a year, to give them a tax cut. It didn't cross their mind that maybe average workers deserve double the tax cut, which is what we're delivering for them. And we're reminded of what their focus has been last night in the third episode of Nemesis. The third episode of Nemesis, where Huey and Dewey down there featured quite prominently. And here's Louis.
Order. The Prime Minister will pause. The member for Riverina and the member for Gippsland. Order. Honestly, the member for Riverina and Gippsland will just cease interjecting so I can hear from the Manager of Opposition Business.
Mr Speaker, on relevance, the question was commendably tightly drafted and it did not go anywhere near the territory that once again the Prime Minister seems to be wanting to divert into.
There was no reference to television shows in the question, but the Prime Minister was asked about obstacles. Just going to ask him to make sure his answer is relevant, to include any material regarding to obstacles.
Mr Speaker, and the obstacle is an opposition that's obsessed by each other. The Manager of Opposition Business just moved a point of order saying he didn't want to talk about it. None of them were shy last night. They were not shy. They were queuing up at the ABC studios. They were there in Harris Street, day after day, week after week. It was a sit-in, Mr Speaker, to get their noggins on the TV as part of that show, to demonstrate how much they hated each other. Mr Speaker, the Australian people didn't rate a mention last night. No discussion of policy, no discussion of people, just